He was stunned to discover that the fake university he had created at random had somehow attracted hundreds of students. For Bartleby, this wasn't just a sudden disaster, it was a true test of his moral principles. These students had paid millions in tuition, and faced with such a huge amount of money, his friends suggested taking the cash and disappearing, but Bartleby couldn't bring himself to do it. His conscience wouldn't allow it. He decided to call a meeting and tell the students the truth. But just as he was about to confess, one student stood up, clearly emotional, and said, "When I got accepted here, my parents told me they were proud of me." Those words rippled through the entire crowd, including Bartleby himself. He was deeply moved in that moment and changed his mind. What was supposed to be a farewell turned into a passionate speech. He told the students that everyone deserves a chance at education. Everyone has the right to follow their dreams. We say yes to your hopes, we say yes to your dreams. Welcome to South Harmon Institute of Technology. But how did things come to this? It all began a few days earlier when Bartleby received the college acceptance list, and his name wasn't on it. After being rejected by every school, he panicked. He didn't want to disappoint his parents. Then a crazy idea hit him. If no college would accept him, why not create one himself? He printed a fake acceptance letter, tweaked a school logo, gave his made-up college a name, and wrote a short description to make it look real. But one letter wasn't enough to sell the lie. So he asked his tech-savvy friend to help him build a college website. When his father handed him the acceptance letter and said, "Congratulations, you're in," Bartleby pretended to be surprised. His mother teared up with joy and hugged him. But even in that touching moment, his father looked skeptical. Considering Bartleby's grades, it didn't seem likely. Thinking fast, Bartleby pulled up a fake website, buying himself some time. The next day, his father handed him a check for the first semester, and before leaving he said, "There's one more thing. On your first day of school, the whole family's coming with you to campus." That's when Bartleby realized he was trapped in his own lie. The school didn't exist, but soon his family would find out the truth. Desperate, he gathered his friends to come up with a plan. They needed to find a place that could pass as a college even for a single day. After some searching, they found an old abandoned hospital. It was broken down, dusty, and falling apart, but Bartleby saw potential in it. They all got to work tearing down fences, cleaning up rooms, and fixing what they could. After days of non-stop effort, the South Harmon Institute of Technology finally looked like a real school. But they weren't done yet. They needed a president. Bartleby's father took education seriously and would definitely want to meet the head of the school. Then Bartleby's friend Glenn had an idea. His uncle had once been a respected professor at nearby Harmon College, but was fired for being too unconventional. Now he worked at a clothing store, barely making ends meet. Bartleby asked him to play the role of president. Surprisingly, he agreed without hesitation. They also recruited volunteers to pose as students. Once everything was ready, Bartleby and his parents arrived at the fake campus. The renovated spaces and clean rooms even impressed his strict father. For a moment, it seemed like Bartleby had pulled it off, but as soon as they entered, his father started noticing strange details. Everything still looked like a hospital. To dispel his doubts, Bartleby quickly introduced his parents to the president. Luckily, the man's real experience in education made his performance convincing. His father relaxed and Bartleby breathed a sigh of relief. But just as his parents left, a student showed up saying he was there to register. Bartleby thought he was lost and told him to head to Harvard down the road. But the student insisted he was in the right place. He had received an acceptance letter, and he wasn't the only one. Soon more and more students began arriving, each with their own acceptance letters. Then Bartleby realized something serious had happened. These students were all different, but shared one thing in common. They had been rejected by every other college. Some parents didn't even question the school's legitimacy. They just wanted someone to take care of their kids. Bartleby was shocked how had so many people found out about a school that wasn't supposed to exist. He met with Glenn to get answers, and that's when he learned the truth. His friend had added an acceptance button to the website to make it look more realistic. When Bartleby's father checked the site, anyone who entered their info was instantly accepted. It was too late to stop the flood of new students, and now we return to where it all began. When that student stood up and said his parents were finally proud of him, Bartleby felt something change inside. He saw himself in each of these kids, rejected, overlooked, but still full of hope. They all had dreams, they just needed a chance. So what was meant to be a goodbye turned into an opening ceremony. Bartleby took the microphone and declared, "Each of you is accepted." But now he faced the real challenge: how to run a school, how to teach hundreds of students. Want to know what happens next? Stay tuned. Soon I'll tell you the rest of the story.